Hello and welcome back to another Andy's FPL Apprentice video. It's Game Week preview time for Game Week 3. So we'll take you through how we did in the previous Game Week and our transfer plans and our thoughts for the upcoming Game Week, including captaincy and all of that good stuff. If you enjoyed the video, then give it a like and subscribe to the channel. So I'm joined again this week by Will.
Hello.
And we're going to have a look how we got on last week, and then we'll take a look at our transfer plans for Game Week 3. So I scored a respectable 66 points. Raya, 7 points is a bit of a bonus for me. Cancelo, obviously, chipping in with the assist was good out of the defence, although the Liverpool boys failing again was a bit disappointing. Not much in the midfield, but Martinelli scoring second week in a row. That was a plus for me. And the strikers, I mean, Jesus, I remember saying that I thought it was mad that people were transferring him out.
Yeah.
Came big.
Unbelievable week.
Yeah, 19 points, 2 goals, 2 assists.
I'd say better than that.
I finally committed to bringing in Haaland for Kane, which actually lost me net points. So... brilliant decision again. Follow me for more of that insight. But I was going to captain Salah, in fairness, and Haaland outscored Salah with his assist. And really, like Foden should have squared it for him. Would have had a tap in. Could have scored with his last touch as well. So not too worried about that, and not too bad a game week overall.
Mm-hmm.
A little green arrow for me as well. In the overall game rank.
Yeah.
So how did you get on this week, Will?
Well, a lot of my players are similar players. I had a lesser week at 52 points.
Yeah.
I had a reasonable defence with Sanchez getting 6 points with the clean sheet. I also had Cancelo, and James scored me 7 points. Scoring a goal, conceding 2, getting a yellow card, and then a point bonus. So had a lot going on.
I watched that game, and James obviously started at right centre back, and he still got forward from right centre back. And then as soon as he moved to right wing back, he was basically playing as like an inside forward. So despite the fact that they conceded a couple and he got booked, he was still pretty immense in the game.
It's convinced me that I'm happy to stick with James.
For sure.
Arsenal conceding 2 goals meant that White got a simple point, and Robertson, as you say, with Liverpool not performing quite at the level, got me just a simple 2 points. I had a very mediocre midfield with Souček, Saka, and Salah and Norgard, pretty much doing nothing between them. Salah was my captain, which obviously was an error. The main thing is everybody around me had Haaland as their captain. So I was sort of rubbing my hands together when he only got 5 points, thinking that I would sort of leapfrog with Salah, but he got a simple 2. So that didn't go very well. But I did have Haaland and Tony as a decent front 2. 5 points for Haaland, 9 points for Tony. My big mistake of the week was leaving Zaha on the bench. I had a feeling that Liverpool would just turn it on after a disappointing first game, and that Crystal Palace would be their sort of first victim to a much more informed Liverpool, but I was drastically wrong, so left 7 points on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, I left points on the bench as well. I had Williams on there, but I think like the reason that I would keep Zaha in the team is I think his like points potential is so much higher than Souček and Norgard, even in the tougher fixtures, because he's on penalties for Crystal Palace. He played as a striker as well, pretty much in that game. If it was me, I'd just bench the players who have less potential, even in Crystal Palace's sort of tougher matches.
That's becoming clear to me now.
Yeah, but still, like you're just under the average, so it's certainly not a bad week.
It's not awful, but it is a net red arrow.
So transfer plans for next week, then you've obviously got 2 transfers, and I've got just the one after my Kane to Haaland transfer last week. And for me, I said it was the only one I was considering, and that I think that having 2 transfers is massive at this point of the season. Because you're getting information all the time, and like, I don't want to just swap like for like. There is plenty of, like, at the moment I'm sort of considering that I want to, like, maybe take money out of the midfield for Mason Mount. I think, like, you've got Tony. I think he looks good. I'd love to
so far, yeah.
Love to bring him in as the third striker potentially. There's defenders as well that I'd maybe look at upgrading. Robertson, I'm considering getting rid of. Not particularly because they've not started brilliantly. It's more that some of the ones who are cheaper I just think have looked so good, mainly James, but there's other players as well. But all this is going to have to wait because I'm not wasting 4 points on it. So I'm going to save the transfer this week. And also Liverpool playing United. United have obviously been very disappointing, and
Indeed.
it wouldn't surprise me at all if they get a bit of a hammering in that. And Chelsea playing Leeds away, which is, based on last season, one of the worst defences. So I think that
conventional wisdom suggests that's a big Chelsea win.
Yeah, so I think leave it a week and then make the decisions on that. What are you thinking?
So I've actually made my 2 moves, built partly on the theory that it's early doors, so I'm changing some of my sort of bench. I felt I could get greater value on the pitch by downgrading Rondon to, I'm going to butcher this name, Dervis Oglu.
Yeah, lovely.
It was a Brentford youth who got a few minutes and performed quite well. But as a bench option, I felt that money could be spent better elsewhere. So Rondon got downgraded, and that means that I swapped Souček, thank you. I swapped Souček for Gross at Brighton. I think is a more attacking points potential player, but otherwise everything remains exactly the same. Despite White and Robinson underperforming, I've got no real issue in my defence. I think that was just a blip of a week for both of them. And as you say, Liverpool have a decent game coming up against United, and Arsenal playing Bournemouth, so happy along that line.
Yeah. So the first thing is, when did you make your transfers?
Well, yeah, so the timing was not great. I looked at a team selection for Everton and didn't see Rondon on the bench, which later you pointed out he was, and actually went on to play. But because I thought I didn't see him on the bench, I assumed he just wasn't going to get any game time this season. So I made the changes essentially as soon as I saw their team.
Now, I can kind of understand that. Like, I think my main argument would be you're making transfers based off, like, the information that you have, obviously. Like, it's not just all guesswork. Some of it's guesswork, but we only have 1 week of information, and you've made the transfers, like, before the second. Like, you only had 50% of the potential information available, and then decided to make the transfers.
Yeah, I must admit, once I get an idea in my head,
you lock it in.
Yeah, I tend to just go for it, and often regret it later. So it's probably a good lesson I can learn.
Now, I will say on a positive, Pascal Gross, I think, is I class him as a bit of a punty move. Like, I don't think he's kind of locked in as a good move. But the back end of last season, I remember he got a few returns for Brighton. Like, I think he is. I don't think Brighton have a main man as such, but I think Pascal Gross does a lot of good in their team. So I don't mind it at all as a bit of a punt. Like, I sort of put him in the kind of category of me picking Bailey, And it's like, I'm not convinced that's going to work, but I don't mind having one or two in there that are that sort of player.
It's those punts that sometimes when they come off, they get you the big points that no one else is getting, and they're the ones that can thrust you up when they go well.
I will say the only thing I would say on it is that I think so. Like Bailey's a good example. I don't think Leon Bailey's a good pick. Like he was, I think that was an error. Like he didn't start the second game. Second game of the season, he didn't start it. Like, and they've only got really 3 or 4 good fixtures, and then their fixtures look rubbish as well. So he was always short term, and the short term's even looking bad. And he's dropped in value now as well, so I've lost money on him. Yeah. But I think for me, making a transfer to change Bailey, like who am I going to get for that price who I really think is going to make a big difference, like a big point swing? Like I think I could get a starter for that price. I could pick Andreas Pereira instead of Bailey. I don't think it'll make, like, you're talking between the difference between getting a 1-pointer and getting a 3-pointer.
Sure, yeah.
So for me, I think I always try and prioritize my transfers early on, like the bigger players. Like, I'm not saying you have to just follow everybody else and get Jesus because he's hauled, but it seems like the sort of player I would target more.
Yeah.
Than sort of smaller ones that aren't going to be the ones that make a huge difference.
Yeah. I guess my running theory there was that it's so early in the season that I'm just sort of making tinkering changes and kind of afford to spend the free transfers at this stage because I'm not looming with any injuries or major bookings or anything like that.
Yeah, and I think the bench downgrade is a good shout, to be honest. Like, it's 500,000 saved, and neither of them are likely to play for you, so it doesn't.
That's it. Yeah,
it doesn't make a huge difference. It just saves you that bit of money. Absolutely. So what's your team looking like next week then?
Okay, so defense exactly the same. Sanchez, Cancelo, Robertson, James, and White. Gross, Saka, Salah, and Zaha re-promoted to the team.
Yeah.
Tony and Haaland top 2, straight 4-4-2.
Nice. I'm looking at essentially dropping Bailey to the bench and bringing in Nico Williams. They've got Everton away. Everton are look toothless in attack. I really like Nico Williams. I don't think Nottingham Forest will keep many clean sheets. They're incredibly lucky against West Ham, but
yeah,
he's taking free kicks and corners for him and bombing forward. I think he's got an assist in him. So I might take a 1-week punt on giving him a start. And who's your captain looking like?
At the moment, I'm still sticking with Salah. Again, their game against United, we've looked bad at both ends of the pitch so far.
I'm on Salah as well. I just remember last season, like Salah just destroyed him last season. Mm-hmm. I don't think I could not captain Salah.
Yeah, the other big choice being Haaland, but I think City probably have a harder game against Newcastle. Sorry, United.
So that's it for our Game Week 3 preview. If you enjoyed the video, then give it a like, subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate that. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on another video.